Today, we are unpacking a story that is kind of wild, really. It's about how the company that gave us the Walkman just completely turned the camera industry on its head, leaving these 100-year-old companies scrambling to figure out what just happened. Let's dive in.
So, to really get how Sony pulled this off, you have to understand what they actually built. We're not just talking about a camera that takes pretty pictures. No. We're talking about a single tool that is so powerful, it can basically replace an entire production studio's worth of gear.
And seriously, this isn't just marketing fluff. We're talking about one small camera body that has the image quality of a cinema camera, the right inputs for a professional sound rig, and a computer brain that's just incredibly powerful. It's basically a whole production company you can fit in a backpack.
The technology making this happen is just mind-blowing. Let's just take autofocus, for example. Not that long ago, 9 focus points was considered, pretty good. Sony's system? It uses 693 of them, covering almost the entire frame. It uses AI to literally lock onto a person's eye, and it just will not let go. It's not just taking a photo, it feels like it's predicting the future.
Which of course brings us to the big question here. How on earth did an electronics company, a total outsider, come in and just outmaneuver the giants like Canon and Nikon? I mean, these are the companies that basically invented photography as we know it. Well, the answer is a masterclass in strategy.
And their whole strategy, it all starts with something you can't even see, a tiny little component that became their secret weapon to take over the entire world of imaging.
Okay, so check this out. This chart shows where Sony's true power lies. It's not actually in selling their own cameras. It's in making the image sensors. The digital eyeball that goes inside almost every camera and smartphone out there. They make something like 40% of all of them, globally.
And that's because their ambition was always so much bigger than just selling a few more cameras with a Sony logo on them.
They made a brilliant decision. They decided to supply the eyes for the entire industry. So they build and sell this super critical component to everyone, including their biggest competitors. It's an incredible move, right? No matter whose phone or camera you buy, there's a very good chance that you are paying Sony.
So they've got this amazing sensor tech on lock. But how do you break into the exclusive, old-school club of camera making? Well, Sony didn't just knock on the door, they bought the whole building.
And they were so methodical about it. Back in '81, their Mavica camera showed that, hey, images can be electronic. Then in '96, the Cybershot made digital cameras cool. But the real masterstroke, the move nobody saw coming, was in 2006.
This quote just perfectly sums up their whole philosophy. Why would you spend decades trying to build up optical know-how from nothing when you can just buy it? By snapping up Minolta, they instantly got 100 years of lens design, camera expertise, and a pro system ready to go.
Okay, so now they had both key ingredients, the best electronic sensors in the world and decades of optical heritage. They were ready to start a revolution. And they did it by getting rid of the one thing that had been in every single pro camera for over half a century. They just ripped out the mirror. Traditional cameras, DSLRs, they had this clunky mechanical mirror box that let you see through the lens. Sony bet they could do it all electronically, making a smaller, faster, and way smarter camera. And just like that, the mirrorless camera was born. But, they didn't just jump in head first. They were clever. They experimented with this in-between tech called SLT. It still had a mirror, but it was see-through and didn't move. Now, these cameras weren't huge hits, but they were the perfect training ground. It let them perfect all the technology that would later define the entire mirrorless era.
And then came 2013. This was the knockout punch, the Alpha 7. They crammed a huge, professional, full-frame sensor into this tiny, mirrorless body. The old guard, all the legacy brands, they said it was impossible. Well, Sony didn't just do it, they made it the new gold standard.
But look, revolutionary tech is one thing. That's not enough to win. Sony sealed the deal by aiming their incredible new cameras not at the traditional photographers, but at a brand new generation of storytellers. They took all these features that you used to only find on $1,000 Hollywood movie cameras, things like S-Log for cinematic color and this insane ability to see in the dark, and they put them in cameras that YouTubers, vloggers, and indie filmmakers could actually go out and buy. They didn't just sell a camera, they basically powered a whole creative movement. And all of this brings us to Sony's real ambition. Because if you think their goal was just to be #1 in the camera market, you're missing the true scale of their vision. When you lay it all out like this, the strategy is just crystal clear. Step 1, build the best camera on the planet. Step 2, Use that camera to win over the entire creator economy. But step 3, the final goal, is to use all that tech to give sight to artificial intelligence.
So when you get right down to it, Sony has pivoted. They're not just a camera company anymore. They're an imaging company. And their most important product isn't a piece of hardware, it's giving machines the ability to see the world.
And this isn't some sci-fi dream. It's already happening. Their sensors are being designed right now for self-driving cars, like their very own Vision S concept. They're being built for autonomous drones, for industrial robots, all these machines that need to see to do their jobs. Which leaves us with a pretty fascinating thought to end on. As we head into a future where AI is in everything, from our cars to our cities, what does it mean when one single company is providing the fundamental sense of sight for all of it? They don't just own a market share at that point. They own a piece of the future itself.